Good hello, thanks for watching another random palm reading. Today we're going to be looking at these palms. Now I've made some notes already. Now these palms were sent to me by Terry. I don't know this person. All I know about this person is they are down on their luck. This is one of Terry's close friends, so he's a bit too close to the situation to read. So the notes I've made here, and I'm going to go through all of these. The strong vertical line here, as seen on the second phalanx of Saturn. I'm going to explain what this means. This change line that comes into here and comes into this on the left hand, and it seems to affect the heart line, it seems to affect the happiness. It's all quite messy over here. It's not quite the same on the right hand. I'll explain what that means. The fingers on the right hand, the middle two fingers, are much closer together than on the left hand. Curious. What do the rings say about a person? The wearing of rings, the unconscious element of wearing of rings in palmistry. Not a lot of people talk about that one. The career line seems to stem from lunar on the right hand, but it's not quite the same on the left. What does this mean? I will explain. And the final point I want to make here is around the tip of the Saturn finger and what can be seen here. Now this is a rather kind of new element to palmistry that I'm sort of amplifying myself. This is my own kind of technique. I don't know any other palmist who does this, and I look at the tip of the Saturn finger and I try to see, almost like sort of scrying, I try to see what I can see, and I've seen a few things here. So I'm going to piece together what I can here, and by the end of it we're going to somehow have a picture of who this person is, what's going on, and how best to move forwards. So number one, what does it mean when we've got one strong vertical line on the second phalanx of Saturn? It shows a strong sense of prudence and also a wisdom with esoteric and a spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge, a keen sort of innate understanding of the deeper meaning behind things. And from an early age, they'll have a sort of a keen sense of the pursuits of spiritual sort of elevation, and it's likely this person has kind of somehow in the background always known where they were going to end up, or always known their strengths, and that they would end up playing to that. And for this person, this strength here shows a keen intuition, or an almost an underlying sort of gift of the ability to soak up metaphysical and sort of esoteric information. I don't want to paint a picture here of someone who's necessarily psychic. I don't think that's what I'm getting at here. But this is someone who's very keen and able to utilize and has an ability to soak up that sort of information. Now this sign is a rare one indeed, and it's a strong opener to a palm reading, really. And it will endow its owner with the rare kind of capacity for this sort of elevating in sort of higher learning. So before I go on, I'm just going to explain a little bit about who this kind of basic, character template is here. We've got long palm and short fingers. There's a lot of squareness to this person. There's a lot of loyalty and sort of structure and routine and rules, order. There's a strong sense of logic and reality at the same time as this person also being quite sort of open-minded to what a lot of people otherwise are not. So I get a strong sense of loyalty about this person. We also have strong loyalty lines here as well. This is a hard worker. This is a person who's a doer. They're better with their hands than their heads, although they also have very strong, long headlines as well. These are, I want to say the thumb kind of represents someone who isn't a deep thinker. The fingers also sort of say this is not an analytical thinker. This is someone who intuitively kind of knows what to do. They get the idea, the general idea of a situation, just sort of know what to do, what needs to be done, and they can act quite quickly on that information. At the same time, a long headline like this, it really does show someone who is they're very level-headed. It's quite a straight headline. There is a creativity there, but their work affects the lives of many. I think there's quite a keen intelligence here. There's certainly a quick thinker. Now, this is an interesting one for me, because on the second hand, the left hand, what am I talking about? The left hand is introverted. It's how we feel on the inside. It's how we're affected by what is not seen. and on the right it's what's external. So we've got internal and external. Now on the internal, this seems to have affected much more, impacted this person on a level that has affected their happiness. Their sun lines appear to have been affected by this. And if we go a bit closer here, you can see that there is a need to protect at this time as well. There's a square. From the age of 42 right up to 50, there's a need to protect here. So my initial thoughts were, well, this is possibly divorce. And this has, really sort of scarred this person emotionally and affected their ability to trust. But then I kind of backpedaled a little bit, because generally what you see with divorce is a change line coming from, Venus, and works its way up onto Apollo, Mercury, and this place of, the situation is revealed to all. It affects all areas of the person's life, and it's revealed to everyone. And this is Mercury and Apollo, this area, which is, something we're not really able, it's out of our control, and it's revealed to everyone, it's shown to everyone. So it's possible that this was divorce, and it was kind of kept closer to home, and not everyone knew about it, and affected this person deeply and emotionally. But the practical effects of divorce are also, quite physical, quite material. As I said, affect all areas of a person's life, and we're not seeing that kind of same or similar. I'm just not seeing the evidence on the right hand. So I think this affected this person's career, and I think this was an emotional upheaval, and I think it came, close to home here. And although it kind of does come from inner Mars, the origins of it, if we look a bit closer, kind of creep from down into Venus. So I'm thinking that there was some potential loss in the family, and it's really quite literally cut this person up. And actually divorce may have happened for this person at the age of about 42, perhaps even earlier than that, actually, maybe as young as 32. I was way off there originally. So there's potential breakup there at 32. Might not be divorce, but there was some sort of breakup there. And then at 42, we see this, I think, a loss in the family. It's struck their happiness. It's threatening to affect their career, their support, their required. And if we look at the career line, it kind of gets stopped by the threat of this. It sort of looks like a partial kind of girdle of Venus. But the good news is, on the right hand, we don't see the same sign at all. In fact, the career perseveres onwards. And there's a lot of influences, coming from this Venus area, this close to home, where there's also a bit of a fight here, there's a bit of a struggle going on here. And I feel like this person is feeling very sort of stuck in a rut, and that's what these two fingers close together represents on the right hand, whereas we don't see that on the left. They're physically, literally, their environment at the moment, they are stuck. They're not as free as they were. The Mercury kind of leans away on the right hand, and it shows this need, this desire to get away, to escape, to be alone, to have that alone time. The Apollo and the Saturn fingers are leaning in very close together there. It shows this person has... They have to work with others at the moment. They have to be around other people. They have to, in order to make their current situation work. Now, all I know about this person is, as I say, they are down on their luck. And I'm piecing things together here, the circumstantial clues. And this, all these changes, this influence is coming from the home life, this struggle, this battle that they're working towards, they're working through. It does tie in as well with this fate line that runs from the lifeline. We see it here as well. At the age of around about 50, there's a reason for that. And a fate line that comes from the lifeline, it shows someone who is devoted to home life. And again, I've already said that this person is loyal, and I think that they are working very, very hard to make ends meet, to support people at home. So whilst this could be loss in the family, it could also be someone at home that they're really working, they're fighting hard to better their situation, to support them perhaps, and it's really having an effect on this person. And all these little minor upward strokes all along the fingers here, on the second phalanges of the fingers, this shows potential kind of adrenal burnout. We're not seeing it on the tips of the fingers, thankfully. If we did, then it would show someone who doesn't know when to stop. This is just someone who is doing absolutely everything they can to make ends meet at this time. So that's what these two fingers close together means. It shows someone who feels they're stuck in a rut. I mean, they are actually stuck in a rut at the moment. Then you don't see the same thing on the left hand. In fact, the fingers on the left hand altogether are very straight. They're very aligned. There's a nice even space between all of them. And on the right hand, we show, there's a lack of alignment here. And as I say, Mercury, it does want to just get away from it all. And that's also shown by there's an escape line here. This is the Mercury line, which is ever so slightly doubled, which shows they're probably worried about their health at this time. But this escape line is met by an actual period of travel for this person, maybe around the age of 57 for this person, something like 57, perhaps 58 for this person. So it does actually come into fruition. Now, what can the wearing of rings tell us about in palmistry? This is an often overlooked aspect of palmistry. So the wearing of a ring on the Jupiter finger on the left hand can show this is an unconscious signal to ourselves. We're trying to regain control. Remember, Jupiter is all about authority and decision making and judgment and control, self-esteem, confidence. And this person has perhaps lost a little bit of confidence. The right hand picture is not quite as flat on, so it will distort findings slightly. But this shows the need to control the situation at home. It's showing a desire to take the reins of destiny once more. Now, the middle finger, the wearing of a ring on the middle finger could well symbolize the need to remember the middle finger is about a sense of right and wrong, of being an upstanding citizen in society, showing our ability to do what's right by others and those around us and be mature and respectful. And so a ring worn here on the left hand could show this need to show to others, this feeling that they want to show to others that they are mature, that they are doing the right thing at this time. Which again, I suppose, is another sign that they are in a position where they might feel that others are looking in and seeing that are they doing the right thing? Do they feel that they're being questioned at the moment? Now, as many of us know, the Apollo finger is the finger of creativity and artistic expression and our talents. It's how we, in many ways, reveal ourselves to the world and its reputation and glory, and how we see others seeing us. And being that it's this finger of artistic expression, wearing a ring on the right hand on the Apollo finger can well mean that our feeling of our creative juices are kind of dammed up by the pressures of family life or work life. And again, this, the tightening of these fingers together in conjunction with this, I feel like this is a kind of an extra sign or symbol of this. Now, the career line is a fascinating one on this palm because initially it starts on the lifeline here, and we see that on the left hand here as well. At the age of around about 30, this person made the decision to quit their day job, and it may well have been a job that was, just to pay the bills, to put money to put food on the table, purely to do what's right by those at home. But this is what they want to do, and this is what they've managed to make a career from. And it started at quite a young age for this person. So when considering this person's career, it's important to note this person has a very strong intuition line, as seen on the left and the right hands. But just to get an idea a bit more as, around their career, looking at their early life, it's really important to see the improvements, the efforts that they made early on. And you can see at the age of about 12 here, this is an improvement in writing, in language, and another here again at about, a similar sort of age. They cross over one another. So you've got, maths, language, learning, skills here, develop academia. This reaching up towards Saturn to better the career. This is academia. These are more around. These are essentially ambition lines, but they're effort lines as well, if you like. And it's helped sort of increase their voice, what it is they want to do. It's this sort of realization and sometimes this is unconscious, but because we see quite a lot of it on the right hand, it is, to me, it's saying that these have been, it's more physical, it's more material. So I feel like these have been more sort of materialized, if you like. And then with this super strong intuition line, it kind of forms this square here. So I feel like this is a potential kind of teaching role formed out of these efforts and ambitions some early on in life. And the last one here is, you can see it sort of sweeping upwards, upwards from the life and the headline at about the age of 19 or so, and it's at this point where this person begins to claim independence. And this effort, this ambition here is sort of saying, I need to get out of this environment now. And that's what happened for this person materialistically. This is a physical occurrence that happened. So coming back to the origin of this fate line here, we've got here a bit of an escape line here. And being the right hand, this is what's, physically manifested. And it kind of, it's hinting at the beginning of having a say in the origin of this fate line. And this fate line kind of comes from Luna. Well, it does. And it's a fate line that comes from Luna is always someone who is working with others, a career that's dependent on others, so a career that can wax or wane. And you often see people's careers in the limelight that stem from Luna, a career that has its foundations in having an audience, essentially, and that can, a great many careers does. For me, the way it kind of sweeps inwards towards this sort of central plane of Mars, towards the sort of necessary this need to interact with the social world. I feel like it kind of turns into a very sort of normal role and sweeps upwards into a very common place for the Saturn line to end up. So I feel like this is potentially a shopkeeper, and the reasons why I say that is because we've got, actually, if we look close down here, the skin ridge patterns here on Luna show a loop, a memory loop. And is that essential for being a shopkeeper? Absolutely not. Would help for keeping the books. And this is really sort of an extra key trait, a sign as to who they are. This is someone who doesn't forget. This is a very sort of loyal person, and once they've been spurned, well, that's it. Now, there was a second reason why I actually think this is potentially a shopkeeper, and that's because before I did this palm reading, I actually looked at this person's palm. I just sat there looking at the tips of the fingers of Saturn. And the reason why I do that is because Saturn is, as I've already sort of said, it's the finger that is held upright by Jupiter and Apollo. Both these fingers have a say in what Saturn means. There's a kind of a combination of both fingers in a way, and it creates who we are and how we present ourselves, and how we're seen by the outside world. So a person with a very short Saturn finger is someone who is very optimistic. They feel that the rules don't apply to them. They're very sort of anti-bureaucracy. And a person with a long Saturn finger is the opposite, quite sort of melancholic, and feels that there's, if you don't abide by the rules, you have no place in society. They feel very strongly about society and the rules. This is certainly someone who does feel that rules are necessary, and the fingerprint patterns show someone who's a bit of a perfectionist as well. So this extra need for control when things aren't going their own way, it probably sends them into probably creates a lot of anxiety for this person. So this person being down on their luck at the moment, it probably affects them a lot more internally than it would most others. Now, Jupiter is this finger of judgment and decision making, that kind of assessing when it comes to situations and authority. And obviously Apollo is this finger of talents and reputation and glory, and how we see others seeing us. It's our creativity, it's our sort of creative outlet. So the two fingers here, we decide how best to use our talents in order to have a career. So this Saturn finger is kind of made up of the two, and you can apply that kind of same logic to any one of the fingers. The Saturn finger and Mercury make up Apollo and etc. So with Saturn, the reason why, and I don't know any other palmist that does this, is it's just my thing. The reason why I look at the tip of Saturn is because it's in a sense it's the highest sort of sense of who a person is inevitably, their plans for the future and the past. It's all there, who they are. It seems it's possible to see, and I kind of just stare at the tip of this finger, and sometimes I start to see things. And for this person, I saw a few things, and some of them I don't really know if it makes any sense. I saw umbrellas, I saw a chair, I saw a cottage, and I saw a shop, and I saw a very, very unhappy person. And I know that this person is very unhappy at this time because of everything I've mentioned in this reading so far. So I feel like this is potentially someone who works out of a shop that maybe was a cottage at some point. I don't know what the chair and the umbrellas mean, but maybe they will. Maybe it makes sense to them. But as I say, the good news is their career looks very, very strong. And this sort of interference, this kind of what looks like not quite a fully formed girdle of Venus, it looks to sort of threaten the career here, but it won't. On the left hand, I think there's a fear that their mood, their anxiety, their depression, where they're feeling in their own minds at the moment will affect their career, but actually that's not what we're seeing on the right hand at all. There's two incomes here, and they both look strong right up until the age of retirement. So in terms of career, I don't think there's anything this person has to worry about. So this kind of shopkeeper role that I've placed this person in, I'm not entirely convinced that's what's going on here. And as I've already said, there's certainly the sort of teacher element, and I'm wondering if it's a kind of a bit of a kooky shop, where it's a health food shop or a sort of a crystal shop or something that's a bit more than just your average. And I think that their clientele, their customer base, they've built a strong rapport with, and they have there's a strong sense of community there. And as I say, there's a lot of loyalty about this person as well. So I think that if that's perhaps failing at the moment for this person, the whole world it feels like it's crumbling. But I do think that there's a lot of protection, especially from the age of 42 right up actually to 53, and it serves to strengthen the success for this person in future. I see good things on the horizon. So, which is nice to say actually, because although there's lots of little signs about how this person's feeling at the moment with the worry and the frustration, actually I think all will be well. Health-wise, I feel like I've gone pretty deep here on a lot of levels, so I think actually I'm just going to leave this for now, and let me know what your thoughts are on this reading. I've gone a few kind of unusual routes here, and I've pulled things out about palmistry, so I don't really normally go into, like the wearing of rings, the my current kind of psychic amplification that Terry would refer to it as. So I want to know what your thoughts are on this one, and whether or not you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know, and I'll continue to kind of work in this way. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.